Awakening. That's all it takes for one thought to either imprison you or liberate you. 8 seconds for your brain to decide, do I stay the same or do I become unstoppable? Right now, in this exact moment, your life is being shaped by choices you barely notice, habits you barely question, and patterns you've been living on autopilot. 8 seconds, that's all it takes to change everything. And here's the truth that will hit you like a lightning bolt. You are not living life the way you think you are. You're not broken. You're not lazy. You're not unlucky. You are simply reacting to what science, research, and the study I'm about to share reveal. Your behaviors, your mindset, and your results are far more predictable than you realize. And if you understand this, if you internalize it, you can take control in ways most people never even imagine. This study didn't just observe people, it mapped their decisions, their habits, their emotional responses, and connected the dots between the small things we do every day and the life we eventually inherit. It proves with precision that your environment, your thought patterns, your routines, and even your social circles shape not only what you achieve, but who you become. You are not trapped by fate. You are not helpless. You are designed to grow, to rise, and to reinvent yourself if you choose to do what most won't. The brutal, liberating truth: most people look at life and say, I just need luck. I just need a miracle. I just need someone to save me. But this study shows the real miracle is entirely within your control. The way you think, the way you act, and the way you consistently show up for yourself. Your destiny is not waiting for permission. It's waiting for action. It's waiting for courage. It's waiting for the moment you decide to step into the life you could have been living yesterday, last year, and maybe even a decade ago. But better late than never. So right now, let this be your awakening. The way you think about success, about fear, about procrastination, about habits, about relationships, and about wealth, everything is about to shift. But first, you have to understand the study, the principle, the insight that will make this shift irreversible. And when you do, you'll see why most people stay stuck and why a few people rise to extraordinary levels. He studied that reveals why you're stuck. Here's what the study found. 95% of our daily thoughts, actions, and decisions are automatic. Think about that. 95%. That means almost everything you do, the work you take, the money you spend, the people you choose to be around, the way you respond to stress, is not conscious. It's a pattern, a habit, a default wiring your brain has been running for years. And the shocking part, most of those patterns were never intentionally chosen. They were copied, inherited, picked up from parents, peers, society, and repeated experiences. They became who you are without your permission. This is why so many people feel stuck. They're trying to solve today's problems with yesterday's habits. They want more money, yet they spend the way they always have. They want better relationships, yet they interact the way they always have. They want courage, yet they avoid discomfort the way they always have. It's not about willpower, it's about awareness. It's not about trying harder. It's about rewriting the programming that runs the autopilot of your life. The study proves something even more profound. When people consciously disrupt one small, consistent habit, everything begins to change. One small action creates a ripple effect across identity, confidence, relationships, and opportunity. One decision practiced daily rewires the mind, changes behaviors, and redefines what is normal in your life. The universe isn't waiting to hand you a miracle. You have the power to engineer it from the inside out. And this is where fear, procrastination, and excuses meet their match. Once you realize most of your limitations are habits, once you see how patterns control outcomes, you stop waiting, you stop blaming, you stop hoping for external forces to save you. You begin to take ownership, not tomorrow, not next week, but now. Because small, smart, repeated action is unstoppable, and the science proves it. This insight isn't theory, it's measurable, repeatable, and life-altering. But here's the catch. Knowing this is not enough. Awareness without action is self-torture. You can stare at the research all day, read every book, attend every seminar, and still stay stuck. Transformation happens when you combine the power of awareness with the courage to act. When you disrupt one pattern, you break the cycle. When you break the cycle, you expand possibility. When you expand possibility, you start living a life you didn't think was possible. And that is the doorway. The doorway from being trapped in autopilot to taking radical control of your life. Awareness is the first step to freedom. Here's the raw truth. Most people never escape stuckness because they never see it clearly. They float through life on autopilot, reacting to what happens instead of designing what happens. The study doesn't just reveal patterns, It shows that awareness is the ultimate leverage point. You can't fix what you don't see. You can't transform what you ignore. Until you recognize the unconscious habits running your life, you are powerless. And powerlessness feels like fear, frustration, and stagnation. Awareness is the first step, but it's not passive. It's active, deliberate, and sometimes painful. You have to look at your routines, your relationships, your finances, your choices, and say, what am I repeating that no longer serves me? What story am I telling myself that keeps me small? Most people flinch at this question. Most people dodge it. Most people distract themselves with busyness, entertainment, or excuses. But awareness, real, unflinching, brutal awareness, is what separates those who stay stuck from those who rise. Here's the kicker. The study shows that awareness alone can start to shift your brain. When you notice a pattern, you interrupt it, you challenge it. You begin to consciously choose a different path, even once. That's all it takes to start retraining your neural networks. One conscious choice, one repeated action. That's the spark, and sparks ignite fire. This is where the courage comes in. Awareness exposes truths we often hide from ourselves. It shows where we've settled, where we've compromised, and where fear has disguised itself as logic. And the moment you truly see it, the moment you admit it to yourself, you are free. Free from denial, free from excuses, free from the invisible chains that have held you for years. But freedom is not an event, it's a process. Awareness gives you a lens. Action gives you power. Discipline gives you momentum. And combined, they allow you to step into a version of life that most people never even imagine. So if awareness is your awakening, then action is the bridge. Awareness tells you where the patterns exist. Action tells you how to disrupt them. And that is the next stage, moving from seeing your life clearly to taking control of it completely. Action, disrupting the patterns that hold you back. Awareness is powerful, but it is not enough. Knowledge without action is a cruel trap. Most people see what's wrong, nod their heads, feel guilty for a while, and then go right back to the same routines, the same excuses, the same invisible cage. That's why the study matters. It proves that the moment you act, even imperfectly, your brain begins to rewire. Action is the lever. Action is the fire. Action turns insight into transformation. The patterns that run your life are strong because they are repeated. They feel automatic. But repetition works both ways. You can reinforce the habits that keep you stuck, or you can create new habits that pull you forward. Every choice, every step, every small act of courage compounds into identity. And that's the breakthrough most people never realize. Who you become is built through what you do, not what you think. Action is not waiting for motivation. Motivation is unreliable. Feeling ready is unreliable. Waiting to feel like it is the number one trap that keeps people trapped. The study proves that the brain doesn't wait for inspiration. It creates inspiration from movement. You act and confidence follows. You act and clarity emerges. You act and momentum begins. The first step is the hardest because it breaks the illusion that you must be ready before you begin. You don't have to be ready. You just have to start. Consistency is where most people fail. They act once, maybe twice, then retreat when results don't appear immediately. But action compounds over time. The study shows that repeated, deliberate steps, even small ones, create massive neurological and emotional shifts. You don't just change your circumstances, you change the wiring of your mind. You shift your identity. You prove to yourself repeatedly that you are capable, resilient, and unstoppable. So the choice is yours. Stay in passive observation, trapped by your own patterns, or step into action and begin the deliberate rewiring of your life. Every habit you disrupt, every small step you take against fear and comfort, every courageous choice compounds into a version of yourself that can no longer settle for less. Next, we'll explore how daily discipline turns action into unstoppable momentum, the force that transforms one breakthrough into a lifetime of mastery. Discipline, turning action into unstoppable momentum. Action alone gets you moving, but momentum dies without discipline. The study shows it clearly. People who succeed aren't necessarily smarter, luckier, or more talented. They are disciplined. They show up every day, even when it's uncomfortable, inconvenient, or exhausting. They do what most people refuse to do, consistently, persistently, relentlessly. Discipline is the bridge between insight and transformation. It's the engine that turns small actions into massive results. Discipline is not about punishment. It's not about denying yourself or suffering through hardship for its own sake. It's about freedom. Freedom from chaos, freedom from excuses, freedom from the endless cycle of hope and disappointment. Discipline is choosing the long-term payoff over short-term comfort. It is the muscle that strengthens with repetition. You exercise it daily by keeping promises to yourself, by honoring your word, and by doing what is hard even when no one is watching. Most people think discipline is about heroic effort, but the study shows it's about consistency. Small, deliberate actions repeated over time are more powerful than occasional bursts of intensity. Discipline is about showing up day after day. It's brushing off failure and returning with the same intensity. It's reinforcing identity with behavior, not with wishful thinking. Each disciplined choice tells your brain, this is who I am, this is what I do. And eventually your identity becomes unstoppable. Discipline also rewires your emotional response. Fear, doubt, and procrastination thrive in chaos. But when you act consistently, you build trust with yourself. You create a system of reliability. You learn that discomfort is temporary and that results follow repeated effort. Your nervous system starts to crave progress, and your mind begins to expect success because it is built on evidence of what you have repeatedly done, not what you imagined. So here's the truth. Discipline is not optional. If you want transformation that lasts, if you want to turn the insights from the study into life-altering change, you must create daily rituals, hold yourself accountable, and push past resistance. Momentum is a habit. Identity is reinforced through repetition, and your future is created in the small, consistent actions you take right now. Next, we dive into the power of mindset. The inner belief system that fuels discipline, amplifies action, and shapes the results you will achieve. Mindset, the invisible force that shapes everything. Discipline gets you moving, action gets you started, but mindset determines whether you finish, whether you thrive, whether you rise beyond what you ever imagined. The study proves something astonishing. Your brain doesn't just react to life, it creates life based on your beliefs, your expectations, and the internal stories you tell yourself. Most people sabotage their own success because they never examine these stories. They believe limitations that aren't real. They accept excuses that aren't theirs, and they wonder why nothing changes. Your mindset is the lens through which you experience the world. If you see obstacles, that is what you'll get. If you see limitations, that is what will appear. But when you train your mind to see opportunity, when you strengthen belief in your ability to act, when you cultivate resilience, the same circumstances that once paralyzed you become fuel for growth. The study shows that those who intentionally shift mindset consistently outperform talent, luck, and even experience. Belief shapes behavior. Behavior shapes results. The cycle is undeniable. Most people wait for circumstances to improve their mindset. They wait for a promotion, a relationship, money, or recognition. But the study proves the opposite. Mindset precedes everything. The people who succeed first adopt the inner beliefs, the mental frameworks, and the emotional strategies that allow them to see solutions. Instead of problems, growth instead of failure, opportunity instead of limitation. And they do this before external evidence appears. Changing your mindset requires honesty, courage, and persistence. It means confronting self-limiting beliefs, questioning assumptions, and refusing to be defined by past patterns. It means choosing empowering narratives over destructive ones. Not occasionally, but consistently. When you cultivate this inner strength, fear and procrastination lose their grip. Uncertainty becomes a challenge instead of a threat. Discomfort becomes the path to expansion instead of a reason to retreat. Your mindset is invisible, but its power is tangible. It affects every decision, every relationship, every opportunity, and every dollar you earn. It dictates how you interpret failure, how you pursue success, and how you persevere when the world pushes back. Change your mindset, and you don't just improve your life, you transform the trajectory of your entire future. Next, we'll explore the courage to step into discomfort, the essential step to breaking free from old patterns and truly living the life you're capable of. Courage, stepping into discomfort to transform your life. Here's the truth. Comfort is the silent killer of potential. The study proves it. Most people don't fail because they lack talent, opportunity, or intelligence. They fail because they refuse to endure the discomfort required to grow. Every breakthrough, every life-changing result sits just beyond the boundary of discomfort. And the people who succeed are the ones who step forward, even when their heart races, even when their mind screams, stay safe. That is courage. And courage is a skill, a muscle you build by doing what frightens you again and again. Courage is not the absence of fear, it's action despite fear. The study reveals that those who intentionally expose themselves to small, consistent challenges rewire their brains to tolerate risk, uncertainty, and adversity. They develop confidence not from success alone, but from the repeated experience of choosing growth over comfort. Every time you take a bold step, you create a feedback loop of resilience and empowerment that compounds over time. Most people avoid discomfort. They avoid conflict, difficult conversations, financial risk, emotional vulnerability, or pursuing a dream that feels bigger than their current self. And in avoiding these challenges, they remain predictable, small, and safe. The study proves that this avoidance isn't laziness. It's a default neurological pattern. The brain seeks comfort because it perceives risk as danger. But you are not here to live in survival mode. You are here to thrive, to expand, to create a life that challenges the limits of what you think is possible. Courage is the bridge between awareness and transformation. Awareness shows you where patterns hold you back. Action interrupts those patterns. Discipline maintains the change, but courage is what allows you to confront fear, uncertainty, and social or emotional discomfort. Without courage, you'll never cross the gap between who you are and who you're capable of becoming. The life you want exists on the other side of discomfort. Every relationship that elevates you, every opportunity that excites you, every achievement that matters, it requires a step into the unknown. Every choice that scares you is actually a doorway. And the more you choose courage, the larger your world becomes. Next, we'll explore how perseverance keeps you moving when results take longer than you expected. Because courage alone is not enough without endurance. Perseverance, holding the line when results take time. Courage gets you started. Action disrupts the patterns that hold you back. Discipline keeps you consistent. But perseverance, true, relentless perseverance, is what separates those who dream from those who achieve. The study proves it. Most people give up not because they can't succeed, but because progress feels invisible. They stop before the compound effect of their efforts has time to appear. They quit just as the breakthrough is within reach. Perseverance is commitment without immediate reward. It's showing up when no one is watching. It's doing the work when motivation fades. It's believing in the process even when results are delayed. And it is the single factor most responsible for long-term transformation. The brain, the body, and the mind adapt over time. Every repetition, every small effort, every invisible action stacks like a brick. One day, without warning, those bricks become a fortress of strength, skill, and opportunity. Most people quit because they measure success too narrowly. They expect results overnight. They judge progress by what is visible rather than what is being built internally. The study shows that the human mind rewards consistency. Neural pathways strengthen through repetition. Confidence grows through demonstrated capability. Momentum emerges through patient persistence. Those who persevere transform challenges into growth, setbacks into lessons, and obstacles into stepping stones. Perseverance is also emotional resilience. Life is messy. People disappoint you. Circumstances turn against you. Failures sting. And yet, those who endure keep moving forward. They maintain standards. They keep taking action. They return to their discipline, their habits, and their goals, even when everything inside them wants to quit. That is the invisible force that separates the ordinary from the extraordinary. Here's the reality. Breakthrough rarely happens in a straight line. Most success stories look messy, chaotic, and uncertain from the outside, but behind every success is a series of deliberate, disciplined, courageous choices sustained over time. The study proves that perseverance isn't just an attitude, it's a skill. And like any skill, it can be trained, strengthened, and mastered. Next, we step into the final stage, the ultimate transformation, where all these principles converge to create unstoppable momentum, life-changing results, and a new reality you previously thought impossible. Momentum, turning effort into irresistible force. Perseverance sets the foundation. Courage opens the door, discipline builds the engine, but momentum, that unstoppable compounding force, is what transforms effort into life-altering results. The study proves that once you consistently align action, awareness, and mindset, the universe responds. Momentum isn't luck, it isn't magic, it is the natural outcome of repeated intentional choices, stacked day after day without compromise. Most people never experience momentum because they quit too soon, start too late, or act inconsistently. They're stuck in cycles of enthusiasm followed by retreat. But once you move past the friction of fear, indecision, and doubt, the world bends in your favor. Small, consistent actions start feeding each other. Habits reinforce identity. Confidence grows with evidence. Opportunities begin to appear not by chance, but because you've become the kind of person who attracts them. Momentum is invisible at first. At day 1, it feels like nothing is happening. At day 10, you wonder if it will ever work. At day 30, results begin to whisper. And then, if you hold the line, the system shifts and suddenly progress becomes exponential. Doors open effortlessly. Decisions become easier. Energy rises. You are no longer pushing life forward. Life begins to flow around you. That is the power of momentum. The study shows that momentum compounds not only externally, but internally. Every completed task, every courageous choice, every disciplined habit creates internal reinforcement. You trust yourself more. You believe more. You act faster. Fear and procrastination lose their grip because the evidence of your own capability becomes undeniable. Momentum is both a shield and a weapon. It protects you from self-doubt while propelling you toward higher results. Most people never build momentum because they underestimate its power. They focus on isolated victories instead of consistent, compounding action. But the truth is simple. Momentum doesn't come from intensity, it comes from constancy. Small, smart, courageous, repeated steps create unstoppable force. And once you experience momentum, your life transforms from reactive to proactive, from limited to expansive, from ordinary to extraordinary. Next, we step into the final section, the ultimate breakthrough, the convergence of awareness, action, discipline, courage, perseverance, and momentum into the life you are meant to live. Breakthrough, claiming the life you are meant to live. This is it, the culmination of every insight, every action, every disciplined habit, every courageous choice, every ounce of perseverance, and every moment of momentum. The study proves that transformation is not an accident. It is engineered. And now you stand at the threshold of your own breakthrough. Not tomorrow, not someday. Now, breakthrough is not magic. It is the alignment of awareness, action, discipline, mindset, courage, and momentum. It is the visible result of invisible work. The life you've been imagining, the relationships you've been dreaming of, the opportunities you've been waiting for, the income, the energy, the impact. It all responds when you consistently apply these principles. This is when potential meets reality. This is when the chains of old patterns shatter. The study shows that people who achieve extraordinary results don't do so by luck. They do so by repeatedly choosing growth, by refusing excuses, and by building habits that compound into unstoppable force. You are no longer trapped by fear, procrastination, or self-doubt. You are no longer waiting for motivation, permission, or validation. You are moving, you are creating, you are unstoppable. Breakthrough is not a one-time event. It is a new way of being. It is the moment your identity matches your potential. You think differently, you act differently, you respond to challenges differently, you attract opportunities differently, and most importantly, you stop living under the tyranny of old beliefs. You become the person who naturally produces the results you once thought were out of reach. Now, everything you do is intentional. Every choice reinforces your new identity. Every action fuels momentum. Every challenge is an opportunity. Every failure is a lesson. Life no longer happens to you. Life happens through you. You are no longer passive. You are alive and full. You are empowered in ways that are visible, measurable, and undeniable. The study didn't just reveal patterns, it revealed possibility. And now that possibility is yours. The life you dream of is not waiting somewhere in the future. It is here, built step by step, decision by decision, moment by moment. You are no longer imagining it. You are living it. Stand up, move forward, step boldly into your potential. The breakthrough is not coming. It is already here inside you, waiting to be claimed. You are no longer waiting. You are no longer stuck. You are unstoppable.